So how do you define a high conflict case? Well, years ago I got started teaching the high conflict class or inventing the high conflict class based on a discussion I had with the director of family court services. I've been teaching other parenting classes throughout the county. She was going to come do a presentation for a workshop my husband and I were offering and be the speaker. In our discussion, we were talking about parenting classes and all the different things that parents needed to know. And she said to me, "So, could you put together a high conflict parenting program for the courts?" Sure. I went to my partner, Fred, and I said, "Guess what you're going to help me do?" So that's how I got started teaching these classes. Several years after setting the classes up and teaching them, and I put some information on the internet. Within a couple months, I received a phone call from an attorney who was putting together a high conflict panel discussion in New Orleans for the American Bar Association. He asked me if I would come in and share a little bit about what I'd learned and what I do. Well, sure, love to. Get a chance to hang out in New Orleans a little bit. So my partner and I started talking and said, well, the first thing needs to happen is we need to define a high conflict case. So we worked through that for a while and decided that this was our definition that fit the best. High conflict occurs when one or both of the parents involved in the conflict cannot or will not let go of their marital battle or marital relationship. Parents that have children but are not married still have a marital relationship, and the fight can continue whether you're in two homes or one home, even if parents have moved on. And frequent intervention by the court is necessary because the family's adjustment is constantly being disrupted. So here you have parents, one or two of them, cannot stop fighting or still focusing on the marital fight, the relationship that went south, and now the courts have to get involved and help settle things down. The problem is that the courts being involved means that the family never gets on with their life. Single parents can't be single parents because everything's on hold. Oh yeah, in a month we got to go to court again. Oh yeah, I got to do a deposition. Oh yeah, I got to respond to these declarations. Oh, and now we got to go to co-parenting counseling or classes. The family never gets a chance to calm down and settle down and move on into the style that they need to. So the conflict often continues. Now, additionally, the conflict allows the parents to maintain their marital relationship with each other. And how does that work? Well, first of all, if you have a conflictual situation, you've got maybe one or both of the parents that can't let go of each other. One parent will say, well, I've moved on, I'm done. But I have found many, many times that there's still unresolved emotions. Either somebody still loves the other parent or they feel guilty about leaving the children out of the relationship as a family, not being able to put that together. So that's a piece of it. The other piece of it is that one of the parents has tremendous difficulty being alone. Or one of the parents has tremendous difficulty because they don't have the skills to move on in the world. For example, maybe they can't manage money, or they can't parent without help, or they seem to always be overwhelmed by life, and being alone is just pushing them over the edge. By staying engaged in the conflict, the courts can't figure out what the problem is because they go after both parents. The person who's in the conflict is having problems doesn't have the life energy left to be able to go learn new skills or to feel the fear of being all alone if they keep the conflict going. As long as they're engaged with the war, the emotional energy, the psychological feelings, the physical energy of writing stuff and going to court and arguing and all that other stuff, they never have to deal with the pure fear or emptiness. The other thing that happens is the conflict then becomes an adrenaline rush. The rush keeps the parents highly energized and addicted to each other. So conflict actually serves a lot of purposes. It allows parents to stay engaged with each other. It allows parents to carry the marital battle on to see who's right and who's wrong. It allows somebody who's terribly frightened of being all alone to stay engaged so they don't have those feelings. What happens when we have conflict and then absence of conflict, if somebody's been used to the conflict, it's like there's too much quiet. I don't know what to do with myself. Oh my God, I'm experiencing the worst loneliness. It's a terrible feeling. By keeping the conflict going, it allows those feelings to never dip to so low because the person's always engaged in the next attack. So that is the definition of high conflict that I use. Hopefully it makes sense. You may be the one, or your ex may be the one that's having some difficulty letting go of the marital argument, or the adrenaline rush. Now, my husband and I do free workshops twice a month. He's a divorce attorney, a certified family law specialist attorney, and I do the how the divorce impacts the children or the breakup, and how to get out of the relationship, and what to say to the kids, and a lot of other things. So we kind of double team on these free workshops. And for years, we've used this little statement when somebody comes in and starts describing maybe a relationship they're trying to get out of. And we say that for high conflict, love is like a butterfly. If you love something, let it go. But if it doesn't come back, you hunt it down and kill it. So that's the high conflict love, or the definition of high conflict in lay terms.